Tim tried explaining to Millie the bizarre events that had been unfolding since their encounter in the cave, but she brushed them off as just excuses to avoid being intimate with her. That night, while they were asleep, Millie switched on the lights to find Tim choking on her hair. It was disturbingly intense. No matter how much he struggled, he couldn't let go. After several attempts, he finally managed to yank it out. As they sat there, shaken, a tense silence fell between them as they tried to make sense of what just happened. The next morning, Millie dropped him off at the train station for a gig. Before he left, she encouraged him to take his time and not feel pressured to return immediately, not out of anger, but to give him space for clarity and new experiences. As soon as she drove off, the strange visions resumed. Just like before, the farther she got, the more overwhelming and uncontrollable the hallucinations became. Because of this, Tim missed his train. Unable to bear the distance from Millie, he dragged himself to the school where she worked. Millie rushed out and took him to a bathroom stall. There, driven by emotion, Tim initiated intimacy, and Millie didn't resist. She had longed for it too. But after the act, they found themselves physically stuck together at the genitals and couldn't separate. In the midst of their struggle, a student stumbled upon them and quickly fled before being noticed. That moment, Millie painfully tore herself away from Tim. The child later alerted Jamie, who calmly handled the situation by sending the boy back to class. As Jamie was leaving, he caught a glimpse of Tim's leg. Back home, Millie unleashed her frustration on Tim for putting her in that humiliating position. Their argument escalated until she stormed out. Millie went to Jamie's home to apologize for the incident. Seeing her emotionally distraught, Jamie invited her in and offered a glass of water. Millie opened up about her troubles with Tim. Jamie referenced an ancient text by Plato, Aristophanes' theory on love and soulmates, encouraging her to see Tim as her missing half. Curious, Millie asked if Jamie lived alone, and he shared about his deceased husband. Jamie brought out their wedding tape, and at that moment, Millie noticed Tim spying on them through the window. She left immediately. Outside, Tim apologized for eavesdropping and for his recent odd behavior, admitting that he felt like he couldn't function without her. As they held hands, Millie felt whole, like her other half had returned. That night, Tim received several messages from Luke, questioning why he missed his performance, but he couldn't focus on anything other than Millie. He resumed researching the couple who vanished in the cave, only to realize they used to live in Jamie's current house. Zooming into a photo, he noticed the same bell from the cave. But before he could dig further, his internet cut out. Suddenly, Millie startled him at the door, acting in a disturbing, unnatural way. She leapt on him and began convulsing. In a panic, Tim slapped her back to consciousness. Afterward, they had a deep discussion about everything they'd been experiencing. Tim proposed running an experiment to test their strange connection, but Millie declined and walked away. She stopped at the door as Tim confessed he'd wished for her to leave, and somehow, she did as he thought it. He then suggested returning to the cave for answers, but instead of agreeing, Millie ended the relationship. Even after she left, a streak of her blood on the table mysteriously moved toward him. That night, they slept apart. But minutes later, Tim found himself uncontrollably drawn toward Millie's room, his body twisting unnaturally. The same happened to Millie, but worse, her bones bent in grotesque directions. They tried resisting the pull, but the magnetic force was too strong. Once they touched, there was brief relief, until their hands began painfully fusing together. Millie reached for Tim's muscle relaxants in the drawer. The pills spilled across the floor, and they chewed as many as they could to stop the contortions, even snorting some for faster effect. They pushed their feet together, and in that chaotic moment, both collapsed from overdose. By morning, Tim awoke to find himself tied to a chair. Millie reassured him it would be okay, gave him alcohol to dull the pain, and used a saw to sever their fused arm. She then left for Jamie's to retrieve her forgotten keys, while Tim made his way back to the cave. There, he discovered a horrific sight: Simon and Carrie, grotesquely fused into a single monstrous being. At Jamie's house, Millie stumbled across a TV showing a disturbing ritual where two people merged into one. Jamie, now revealed as the product of that ritual, explained that they'd achieved peace through unity and urged Millie to do the same with Tim. When she refused, he slashed her arm, echoing the cuts shown in the footage. She escaped and found Tim in their driveway. Despite her pleas, he threatened to end his life to protect her. As she began to lose consciousness from her bleeding wound, Tim pressed his arm to hers, merging their flesh to stop the bleeding. They confessed their love and danced slowly to become one, embracing as their bodies fused into a single entity. That same weekend, Millie's parents arrived to visit. They knocked on the door, now marked with the cave symbol, and were greeted by a serene, androgynous figure who appeared completely normal. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Thank you.